quite nice. A taro is kind of like a dense potato. It's much more dense. It's kind of nice.
Today we are going to be making something called Taro Dengaku. So Dengaku in Japanese actually refers back to like an old traditional dance that they used to do for like the god or the deities of rice. So something to do with harvesting. And I guess with the dance, there would be men on stilts. And I think that that is why with a lot of these Dengaku recipes, you end up seeing that things are actually grilled on skewers. And so maybe that skewer kind of looks like the stilts or something like that, okay? So going back, what a Dengaku recipe usually is grilled something. So it could be grilled vegetables, grilled tofu, maybe konnyaku, that yam. And then you smear on this kind of sweet, savory miso glaze on it. And then you grill it. And so I saw this recipe with like, I think like there were some taro farmers, so it made perfect sense. But taro, for me, is just something that is very like filling in a nice and hearty way. It is a potato, but better. It is like a very dense potato. And it's like nice. It has a good mouthfeel because it is so much more dense, less water. And for the same reason, when you have it as a snack, it really fills you up. So these guys, they're delicious because they're like small, they're like kind of bite-sized, and you have it as a snack, but it fills you up as well, which is really nice so that you don't, continually snack. This is a recipe where you can prepare this miso glaze. And again, like I said, put it on various vegetables that you grill, or put it on to tofu, or put it on to, like really whatever you want, on your skewers. And people are cheering outside for no reason, and I don't know why. I think it's summer, it's like some community building exercises, and I'm just not sure. Anyways, on to the recipe. So now we're just going to make the sauce. So I have some red miso. I'll put the ingredients down below. If you don't have red miso, just normal miso is fine. Sake, Japanese rice wine, and then some mirin, which is kind of just like Japanese rice wine, but sweetened. And I'll link to the amazake recipe that we've made before, because you can kind of make this whole thing whole food plant-based. You might want to add like a little bit of maybe like date sugar, but not really. Oh, that light is harsh, isn't it? Hold on. There you go. So that makes quite a lot. This was 1.5 tablespoons of miso, 1.5 tablespoons of sake, and then 1 tablespoon of mirin. So it'll thicken up, but yeah, this is probably enough for our 4 taro, because they're so small. Okay, so I'm under the impression that when I saw some farmers do it. They kind of boiled everything in the skin and then they were able to peel it off quite easily. It is quite hot, so because what people do is usually they peel it beforehand. And okay, if I've made a mistake here. Okay. I mean, it's because it's slimy, I guess, is what they say. And some people say to put it in some salt water or like boil it in salt water. But I just didn't want to add the extra salt to it. We already have it from the miso later, so. Yeah, it's peeling off okay, actually, once you start. Yeah. Okay, you can see this one. So I have to be careful not to kind of break them too much. Yeah, and I didn't have skewers, but I had popsicle sticks, and I had done like kind of like a shoot like this before, and it came out pretty well. Kind of breaking. I think I need to pre-skewer it. Okay. Kind of like that. Done a couple more. I think sometimes it was just that some taro were still kind of harder or starchier, but for the softer taro, kind of went through quite easily. And I pre-poked like kind of like the skewer marks with a knife already, so. Okay, that's cute. Took a few tries, but that's okay. Sauce is quite salty actually from the miso, so that's great because I just tried a taro piece and you know, it's a bit like a dense potato. It is quite starchy, but there's not much in terms of flavor. There's not much there, so yeah, that might be pretty. So I've seen it topped off with sesame and then a bit of seaweed, and then you grill it for about 5 minutes, kind of high heat. I think it would be pretty with both, but we'll top it off with seaweed afterwards, maybe. I don't know, actually. Put some seaweed on it now. So I added a little bit more of the nori seaweed, so now we're just gonna grill it. These are done. They look really nice, actually. I'm gonna go and try it out for you. These are for pictures. This is the kind of the leftover pile that I had that I just threw everything on, so we'll give these a try. Okay. So let me just try this out for you. Okay? So we'll try one of the uglier pieces. Okay, so it's like nice and dense on the inside, and I actually think that baking it kind of
dried it out, but like condensed it some more. So it's kind of like less wet. So it's kind of nice to eat that way. It's quite nice. Because when I was having the taro before, a taro is kind of like a dense potato. It's much more dense. It's kind of nice that way. Texturally, it's nice. But kind of just like a potato, it doesn't have a ton of flavor. Taro does have its own kind of... sometimes people say it's a little bit sweeter than potato. I just think it has this like more taro-y basically flavor than potato. But either way, it is kind of like a very neutral type type starch that desires a lot of flavor, which is good because when you have something like the miso sauce on top, it is very salty, but then you kind of get that sweet rice taste from the mirin, from the various rice wines. And then if you put sesame on top, which I love to do, if you put seaweed on top, other kinds of miso sauces, sometimes you'll put some ginger in and grate that in. Sometimes you'll have ground up sesame, put that in, get some texture into this. It is quite nice because that really strong sauce on top pairs really well with kind of like a very neutral tasting, kind of root vegetable on the bottom. So